Sharing is Caring by Itslivybear, Chapter 19, The Mall Trip That Will Not Go Wrong. Almost the whole class was at the mall except for Shoto, who had a long-standing appointment with his mother at the time, so Mina latched onto him, all smiles. "Please be orderly and remember that you are representing UA." Ida chopped his hand through the air, and most of the class laughed. Uraka's eyes lit up. "Oh, we should split up to get the stuff we need. I don't think a store would like 18 of us milling around here." Mina turned to him with a smile. "What do you need to get, Midori?" He blinked and looked down at his list and shrugged. He had pretty much everything already. "I don't need anything either. Let's go shopping. Your style is kinda whack." Izuku felt mildly offended, but then looked down at his outfit, and, yeah, it kind of was. Momo smiled. "I also do not need anything, so I will come with you." Uraka grabbed Tsuyu. "We're going to the swimsuits. See you guys in an hour for lunch?" The class chorused agreements, and everyone went off to get shoes and camping supplies and bug spray and things. Mina was quick to tug Izuku to the nearest clothing store, bouncing a little as she went. "Okay, so you could do with some new shirts." "Mina," Momo chided, "slow down. First, I believe we should figure out the styles that would most suit him, and then take him into account his wants and needs. If we want him to bring some of the outfits to summer camp, then we have to make them functional as well as fashionable, not to mention comfortable." Izuku was already flustered. Mina hummed, then nodded. "Midori, I don't suppose we're going to be able to separate you from your shoes, are we?" Izuku rapidly shook his head. He loved his red high tops. "Thought not. So, color-wise, we can incorporate more red to make them match better, but we also have to keep in mind the green. My thoughts are no yellow so he doesn't look like a traffic light, and no highlighter colors, because those are a little too bright for him. Maybe as an accent, but not as the main color." Momo nodded. "Agreed. How do you feel about burgundy?" Izuku honestly didn't know what that meant, other than the fact that it was like a navy red, but Mina crowed in delight, diving into a shirt rack and pulling out one in the color. She held it up to his chest, and he just looked at the two girls with wide eyes. Momo cast a critical eye over his form before frowning. "Good, but the size you picked is too big." Mina sighed and slid it back in. "There wasn't anything smaller. What if, and hear me out, we went a bigger size and then tied the knot on the hem to make up the slack?" Momo's eyes sparkled. "Go for a purposely too big look? I would like to try it, if nothing else." Mina nodded in triumph and took out a bigger burgundy shirt, tucking it on her arm. "Next! We need bottoms for this." Izuku was certain his baggy cargo shorts were not up to their standards based on their expressions. A few minutes later had shoved him into the changing room, and he felt a little awkward changing, but soon enough he stepped out for the consensus. Mina bounded forward without inspecting him too hard, and quickly bunched up the shirt into the knot tie she had been talking about, which, based on what Izuku saw, should not have stayed if it wasn't for friction. And he felt less like he was drowning in the big t-shirt. It was still slightly off kilter, not balancing quite right on his shoulders, and the knot tie exposed a tiny bit of his side, and he flushed, trying to pull it down, but Mina just batted his hand away as she stepped back to make the full inspection. Aside from the dark red shirt and his normal high top, he was wearing what he pretty sure Momo had called caprice in an olive color. They were hugging his legs, but they were certainly comfortable. He needs a pattern, maybe a plaid or floral. for either the shirt or the pants, but the colors are good. Momo bit her knuckle a little, muffling herself a tad bit, but she smiled. Mina, do you remember the red color shirt? Mina lit up. The flower one? Yes. I'll be right back. Izuku just followed her with his eyes blinking until she came back with a short sleeve button down that was almost shiny, patterned with flowers with a thin, slightly darker red outline that the rust red that made up the main color. It was subtle and also looked really expensive and way too nice for a potential summer camp shirt. Momo thrust a black belt on him, and when he came out in the shirt, and Mina chuckled as she unbuttoned the two top buttons. He blinked, suddenly showing his collarbone, and wordlessly put on the belt on. He knew it was better to go along with it, even if he didn't think the capris needed a belt. Momo clapped and smiled. That's it! A little more fashion-forward than a true summer outfit, but definitely a keeper. I do like the shirt as well, but maybe with something tan instead, shorts for ease of movement, or maybe a skirt. Izuku blinked, mildly alarmed. A skirt? Mina grinned. Maybe a skirt. As cute as you look in a skirt, you move around a bit too much for it to be reasonable on its own. Then again, leggings underneath would also work. Momo nodded. Of course, if you do not wish to wear skirts, that's completely fine and understandable. We can stick to things with legs. He paused, considering, then slowly shook his head. That sounds fine. She beamed. Then our options open up considerably. Mina came bounding back with some shorts. That will with the burgundy. Go! Izuku smiled, but dutifully went back into the changing room. And keep that other outfit, Momo called, because we're definitely getting it. I'm paying, and that's final. Momo. Midoriya Izuku, she said, stern and raising an eyebrow. This was our idea, and I love spending money on my friends. Consider it a gift, since your birthday's coming up. Mina gasped. It is? Mido, why didn't you tell me? He flushed. It's not that big of a deal, he murmured. Really? What day is it? Oh my god, I need to get you a gift. Ugh. Momo smiled. July 15th, the last day of summer camp. It's fine. Izuku giggled at Mina's distraught expression. I wasn't planning on doing anything for it anyway. Mina looked downright scandalized, but then Mom passed him a bag. He blinked, then turned to her, betrayed. She smiled. You were distracted. Now, we don't have long before we have to meet up for lunch, so let's get going, Plus, I'm sure we could check out some of the other clothing stores just in case. No, he strangled out, clutching the already full bag. 4 different outfits with accessories in the form of belts and various jewelry. No more, please. You've already done so much. Mina sighed, putting a hand to her cheek. We just have to bring you back. 4 measly outfits cannot save your wardrobe, Midori. He stepped past them both to head into the mall proper, ears burning, but he was smiling. He didn't really understand fashion all that much, preferring to just wear what was comfortable or funny. But he had to admit some of the outfits looked really nice. He liked them a lot. He looked up, knowing they were trailing behind him, catching up by the sound of their chatter, and he spied some green through the crowd sitting at a bench. Suyu. He pushed through, eager to see his friend again, and stopped. There was someone sitting next to her, a hand curled around her neck with one finger raised. Her expression was perfectly blank as she said something to him, but her friend's hands were shaking. He couldn't see who it was under the hood, but he saw the chapped lips and long fingers, and he knew exactly who it was. Shigaraki. All the sound in the mall went away. like he was in a tunnel or underwater, and he saw Suyu's eyes sweep the crowd before they locked onto him. Her eyes grew wider, and Izuku moved without thinking. "Hey, Sue!" He was more cheerful than he felt. "Oh, I didn't know you were meeting a friend. Sorry about that, mister." I'll just snagged. He knew that brainwashing felt like, but he wasn't prepared for the instant feeling of a hook grabbing a fish. Unfortunately, this fish was bigger than he was prepared for, and it was thrashing. He gasped and swallowed heavily. Let go of Sue without hurting her. Fingers carefully disengaged from her throat, and as soon as they were clear, she ducked under them and ran to his side, tugging him away. Izuku, we should go. Momo bounded to his side. We already called the police. We should go. Izuku nodded, feeling a drop of sweat go down his neck, and looked at Shigaraki. His eyes were blank, but then he blinked and snarled. You, he snarled, made a big mistake, brat. Izuku gulped, blinking away a headache. We've already called the heroes. You've lost your hostage. Shigaraki grinned. You know, I was originally looking for you, brat. But you weren't the green one I ended up finding. The demon lady will be pleased to know you're still alive, since she wants to be the one to kill you. Shigaraki smirked before turning away and ducking through the crowd. See you when you least expect it, brat. Izuku swallowed and clutched Suyu a little tighter. I'm sorry. For what, Kyoto? He wanted me, and you were safe. I'm not hurt, Izuku, just frightened. Mina patted him on the back. And you got her out unharmed. Everything is fine. He heard police sirens and bit his lip, but nodded. What do you think he meant about... Momo grimaced, even as she tugged them for the entrance, where everyone was evacuating. The demon lady or the part about seeing you again? Both, I guess. If I recall, the demon lady in question is most likely the one from USJ with the whip. To think she escaped and was hiding all this time, worrying, and the fact that she apparently has a grudge against you more so. As for seeing you again, who could say? She pursed her lips. But after the USJ, security at the summer camp will be tighter, and now we're stronger. They won't be able to attack us again. Izuku nodded slowly. Aizawa had already told them that the summer camp was in a secure location that no one but the teachers would know about until they arrived, so it wasn't like the League could get them there. They'd be safe. Suyu squeezed his hand and smiled up at him. Everything was fine. It was going to be fine.